The road into Basra, capital of southern Iraq. Britain has handed control of security in the city to Iraqi forces. The British and Iraqi governments are talking up a return to normality. Markets, roadworks, even celebrations. But many people who live here tell a different story, of a city ruled by brutal militias battling for power. Almost all our interviewees asked for their identities to be hidden.
Many who are outside Basra, or in Baghdad, or in areas far away from Basra, think that this is a safe city, a relaxed city, where people can live a decent, normal life. But the reality is that in Basra there are mafias which steal and rob, and they all, of course, wouldn't like a journalist to reveal their activities, be it in the eyes of Iraqis or worldwide. When we joined the profession of journalism, we knew that it was the business of looking for trouble. So if we face a problem or a threat or two, we can't just leave journalism and close in on ourselves. There's a lot of concern being made in foreign, and particularly British press, over the withdrawal of British forces completely from Basra, and saying that Basra will descend into a mess of gangs and militias. But Basra is right now in control of militias and gangs, and the Brits are still here.
This is a journey into Basra, to hear voices that are rarely, if ever, heard. Sami is 52. Her husband was executed by Saddam Hussein 26 years ago, and she now lives with her disabled mother in the squalor of their home.
We lost everything because of the wars, had to keep moving around from one place to another. I keep having to pack up and move.
Her elder son works as a guard for Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. And in today's Iraq, that was enough one night for masked men to burst into their home and beat his younger brother so badly he hasn't been able to walk since.
What did they gain from doing this to him? They ruined his life and his family. For what? He can't go to the doctor or support his children. When the British forces were around, they would patrol the streets. They kept us safe. Now anyone can barge in, take your son, without fearing anybody or any government. If you complain, the government, they do nothing.
Anyone who's had anything to do with British forces is particularly at risk. Things got worse when the British left. Assassinations that started with the religious clerics. Then the gangs started fighting. Basra used to be the safest place in Iraq. Hassan, nervously smoking here, used to cook for the British, but stopped this August after threats from a militia. His brother, a translator, didn't. For a week we didn't know where he was. Then the British said he hadn't shown up to work for a week. We went to look for him. His body was dumped on the road. He had a piece of paper on him saying he was a traitor as he worked for British forces. It was stuck to his chest. He'd been shot 5 times. We spoke to a former translator who says he's just waiting for his turn.
The militias consider the Allied forces an occupying force, and anyone who works with them is a traitor and deserves to die. There's no discussion about this, whether you're a translator or a cleaner. I'm going to fall into their hands. It's only a matter of time. If I don't leave Iraq, I'm a dead man. They're going to find me.
He heard about the British government's promise of 500 visas for former British Army employees.
أنا سمعت مثل هذا الخبر وبالبداية كان جدا مفرح إنه لأن حسينا ببادرة أمل جديدة خلاص.
I heard the news about the visas and it made me very happy. It brought hope for a new life and future. We thought the Brits have finally started to look after us, just like we looked after them when they were with us. But in practice, on the ground, this law isn't being implemented yet. We're asking when they're planning to implement the law. They say we should wait a while, get our papers ready, apply, and then they need to study the cases and eventually decide whether to accept or reject. I think it's going to take at least 3 months. But since I'm already a dead man, I'll wait another 3 months. But is there any hope? I don't think so. I have no more hope.
Iraqi police and soldiers now patrol the streets of Basra. But the militias are the real power, heavily armed and spreading a quiet terror. Our cameraman was taken to see a top commander of the Mahdi army, the Shia militia that's the most powerful force in Basra.
Basra can't be ruled by force. There are too many entities fighting for power. Even the British didn't manage to control Basra by force, so they fled in fear to their base at the airport. Basra needs a vision.
His group, he claims, is almost an alternative government, offering protection and order. He mocks official corruption.
The first people to combat smuggling were the men of Basra, not the government. They took charge after the fall of Saddam, when there was no government. Then, when the government took over, the smuggling increased. It's bizarre. What a mystery. If they think this popular movement is finished, then they're in denial. This popular movement of the people is hibernating now. When it feels there's a danger, it will awaken from its deep sleep. It's a common tactic all over the world. When an entity feels threatened, it goes underground, and it reappears when the right time comes. The guy running the security plan now, General Mohan, only believes in power. He wants to cleanse all Iraqi homes of weapons. But the Americans elsewhere in Iraq are arming Sunni tribes. And in Basra, police are trying to take arms away from Shia tribes. Let them dream on.
As the militias battle it out for Basra, one group has already lost and fled. Basra is largely a Shia Muslim city, and the Shia militias have driven out almost all the Sunni Muslim minority. We followed the refugees 1,100 kilometers to the northwest, to Damascus in Syria.
One of my relatives, a teacher, was killed right in the middle of Basra, in the city center, where it's supposed to be the safest area. The killer, carrying his pistol, walked away after shooting him, and everybody left him alone. He got in his car and drove off, and my relative was left on the street bleeding. That's the sort of thing that was happening. Until today, we've never seen anyone who committed a murder caught. Not one. So they started distributing these flyers. That's how it all started. The flyers were all over the streets. They said, "For all Sunni residents of Basra, leave Basra immediately or we will kill you." So people started to get out. They felt vulnerable, unprotected. Neither the government, nor the army, nor the police, nor the occupation forces were protecting the citizens. So what choice did we have?
These expulsions have stored up more trouble for the future. In a flat in a Damascus alley, we interviewed Abu Majid, an ex-general in the Iraqi army who fought in the Iran-Iraq war. He's itching to get back to Basra with a gun in his hand to fight the Shia militia.
فرجعت هسه الناس يقولون الله يرحم أيام زمان.
People today long for the days of Saddam. Saddam had protected our dignity. At least we had security. I could get in my car and drive to Baghdad from Basra, even at night, on my own, and it was fine. Now it's impossible.
حتى لو بالليل ووحدي أسوق ما علي شيء. الوضع بالبصرة ما حد مأمن على حياته.
Today in Basra it's a struggle to stay alive. Everyone is scared. Even the murderers will eventually get killed as the militias carry on fighting amongst themselves. And anyone who speaks up will get killed.
على مسؤول بالمحافظة ومسؤول بالعراق يقتل. مستعد أقاتل عن 1000 رجل.
I'm ready to fight. I can fight 1,000 men, even though I'm over 50 years old. And this isn't only my opinion. My former colleagues and many others feel the same.
لأنه العيشة أنت تعرفها خارج واحد خارج بلده وخارج وطنه.
Living in exile is hard, even if the country we live in is treating us well.
اللي عايش بيها مسهلة أمره.
We feel alienated, and we always long for our country.
شعور يعني بالذيل بالمهانة. وتبقى عيوننا على وطننا وعلى بلدنا.
The British government may say that it's handed Basra to Iraqi forces capable of controlling its security. Whatever the appearances, though, the reality on the ground is violence and fear.